friendship should be free. It should be entered into voluntarily. So why are you paying for that friendship? Do you even know you're paying for the friendship? Do you know what it costs you to be in that friendship? You're welcome to Real Talk with Auntie O. Friendship would cost you something, interacting with another person in friendship would cost you something. It always does. I think there would be the little inconveniences. There would be the fact that you might have to go somewhere that you probably did not want to go, or spend something that you didn't want to spend, or do something, help someone. All of that, it's fine. I think there will be the normally accepted range of inconveniences, I think, that comes with a friendship, and that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about friendships that really cost you an arm and a leg. And so let's dive in. So why in the first place would someone with their two eyes enter into a relationship or a friendship that is expensive? One thing I think sometimes is vulnerability. Sometimes when you're vulnerable, and I've found myself in that position where sometimes you're vulnerable, and it might just well be you're running away from yourself. And then you might find yourself, shacking up with the wrong people, or not the wrong people, that's too strong of a word, but with people who, had things been different, had you been in a different state of mind yourself, you would probably not want to be friends with them, or even if you had some sort of interaction with them, you would have been able to manage that better. So I think sometimes being in a vulnerable state, so personally I remember my most vulnerable state was during going through my divorce. So just before then, that period where things are breaking down so badly, but you're still under the same roof with this person, and I needed to be outside. I needed to be outside of the house a lot, apart from so I'd go to work, come back, but weekends I needed to be somewhere else. So in that time I made a lot of not a lot of, but some friends that on a good day right now, with where I am right now, I would never have considered them friends. So being vulnerable, I think, sometimes exposes us to those sort of friendships. And to add to that, sometimes when you are in a different state of mind, or in a state of mind where you don't feel so strong or so good about yourself, you might then see this group of people or this person who seem more woke, they seem more happy, they seem more put together, and then there's a part of you that wants to share in that experience. You want a part of their life, or you want to be like them. It might well be that they put nice clothes on, they appear rich, designer wears, they go to parties, and that's the thing, especially in the era of social media that we find ourselves in. Everyone shows you the good, happy side, and we never hear about the struggles and everything that's happening behind the scenes. So seeing that at a state where, or in a state where you don't feel so good about yourself, you could want to bend and conform, or try do what it takes to be a part of that life that you think is the more attractive life. So why do I think that why do I class it as expensive? It's expensive because it might cost you a few things. It might cost you a lot of things, and it might cost you more than money. So first of all, I think in terms of for example, gifts. So if you are not usually the sort of person, maybe because you can't afford it, or you're not that sort of person who is into this high class designers, nice flashy cars, flashy everything. If you're not into that, normally that sort of person, and then you're not finding yourself getting the sort of friendships, and think about, for example, gifts. So it's this person's birthday, and everything that they have, or everything that you've seen them put on, it has a name behind it, has a brand, it's designer and wears. What sort of gifts would you give that person? You're not going to give them you're not going to give them your usual, like what you normally give to yourself or your family or things like that. You would want to, because you want them to appreciate the gift and you want them to respect you or something, then you would have to stretch like way beyond your means sometimes to be able to meet up. So it could cost you money. Even so, another way it could cost you, first of all, is even trying to look like them. So for example, I've made friends with this person who is always on design designer gear, everything is like top. If I'm never to be found outside with them, going out with them, then I would want to step up my game as well. I would want to dress up like them. I mean, some people will tell you outrightly, like, hey, you're not coming out with me like that, so go step it up and things like that. So you find yourself doing things, spending money that you'd usually not spend, if it was just yourself. So those are like some of the monetary costs. But what about even your dream, your identity, for example? In trying to conform to someone else's life, you lose your identity. So it would cost you your identity. You get to that point where you don't really know who you are, and on the inside you're still. So one of the things that happens to us is, in the core, our core does not necessarily change. You're still that person on the inside, but on the outside you're putting up this facade, and you're trying to be this person, and now you've got to deal with that conflict, because the person on the inside would always conflict with this person that you're putting up on the outside, and that's your conflict, and that's your struggle to deal with. No one else would know, and on the surface you seem happy, but that conflict will continue to bother you because you're deviating from who you are at your core, just because you're trying to live someone else's life. Your goals, your dreams. So sometimes you might be, that person like me who's like, I want to stay at home, I want to study, I want to, I want to do XYZ with myself. I've got this goal to do this by that time. And then you come across this person who's like living life in the moment, parties, fun and everything. And if you're not strong enough, you find that you then drop your goals and those dreams that you had, because you're trying to live someone else's life, fulfill their own goals, their own dreams. And then again, back to that conflict, because again, on the inside, you know who you should be, you know what you should be doing and where you should be at that time. But again, because you're trying to conform to someone else's lives and someone else's ideas, you're in a different place doing something entirely different. So again, it will cost you your peace, and that's just, it will cost you your identity, it will cost you your dreams, it will cost you your peace. And we've talked about money. It's going to cost you money. It is expensive. So the question is why? And we all, no, maybe not all of us, but a lot of us get into those sort of friendships, situationships, whatever we call them, and we're just stuck, So on the inside, you're not happy. You know that it's not you. You're doing things that you're not comfortable with, but you're still doing them. So how do you find a way out? Personally, I think one of the first things is falling in love with yourself. It's really important. So we talk about it a lot. So everyone online says, oh, love yourself, make yourself happy. It is really a difficult thing to do. Like, I won't say it's difficult. It's not something, so it's easier said than done. It's something that even a lot of people who tell you about being comfortable with yourself, they don't even understand what they're talking about. And that's the truth. Being comfortable with yourself, being comfortable, being alone, first of all, like loving yourself, it takes work. It takes a different level of self-awareness. And I don't care, people talk about it a lot. Oh, love yourself. It's not the easiest thing to do. It takes a different level, a higher level of self-awareness to get to that point where you're truly, truly, truly friends and one with yourself, what's and all. You know you're good, you're bad, you're ugly, and you love yourself. And you're actually comfortable in your own company, first of all. So, yes, if I have friends, great. If I don't have friends, great. Like that sort of being comfortable. Some people cannot do without friends at all. Like some people, cannot survive without friends. But if you want to be deliberate about the sort of friendships that you make, first of all, you've got to get comfortable with yourself, know yourself, be friends with yourself, have your boundaries, have your standards. And once you've established that, then you can then decide who to let into your life. Then you would know how to make friends that really impact you positively, friends that's where you have that synergy, where you have that you don't have to do everything together, you don't have to believe exactly the same things or have 100% the same goals or anything, but you would then learn to find synergy in friendships where and then another thing again is knowing yourself that way would give you individuality even in that friendship. So I am friends with people who we're not the same. I'm confident to wear what I want to wear to that occasion. I don't call up people and say, what are you wearing? What should we wear? That sort of thing. So knowing and befriending yourself enough would give you individuality, so that even when you make friends with people who are different, even when you make friends with people who spend their money differently, you would not need to spend your money in exactly the same way. You would not need to conform with them. You would not need to deviate from your own goals and dreams. So yes, look at your friendships and see. You must be, it has to be mutually beneficial. And so check your friendships with people. What are you gaining out of it? It doesn't have to be financial or anything like that, but it has to be mutually beneficial. And any friendships that does not really appeal to who you are on the inside, any friendship that's really different, that takes you off your path, off that thing that you know that you should be doing, then what's the point? It's expensive. Thank you.